There's something adults rarely say out loud. One day you look around and notice the room is quieter than it used to be. The group chats that once stayed lit all day start to fade. Messages come less often, and plans don't happen as naturally as before. People get busy, life gets heavier, priorities shift, and everyone slowly drifts in different directions. You didn't do anything wrong. Life is simply rearranging things. We used to believe friendships would stay forever, like childhood photos. But in reality, adulthood often comes with scattering. And for some people, that shift runs even deeper. They move through the world with fewer friends than they expected, sometimes almost none. If you've ever asked, why is it like this for me? You're not alone. There are real, deeply human reasons behind that quiet path. Some people are born with minds that operate differently, quieter, deeper. They don't gain energy from crowds. They don't need noise to feel alive. They observe more than they perform, feel more than they chase. In a loud world, they're often mistaken for being cold, but what they carry is simply the honesty of their soul. They think far beyond what they show, and that depth shapes how they form friendships. Reflective minds don't blend in instantly because shallow conversations don't feel like connection. They crave what's real, stories with meaning, not casual, empty lines. If you've ever felt different, don't blame yourself. You're not broken. You simply belong to relationships that are more sincere. One of the strongest traits of people with few friends is deep introversion. You replay conversations long after they end, analyze words and emotions, and catch details others miss. That sensitivity helps you understand people, but it can also create distance between you and the world. People like you don't find joy in surface-level social talk. You need honest conversations, ones that go beyond weather and work and into feelings, purpose, and meaning. But most connections stay on the surface. And when your mind naturally longs for depth, it becomes harder to find true bonding. That doesn't make you difficult. It only proves you're living truthfully. Another trait that makes your path quieter is your instinct to protect your energy. At some point, you may have learned that not everyone is safe to trust. You opened up, you gave time, and what you got back was disappointment, inconsistency, or unpredictable emotions. So you started walking more slowly. You don't open the door so easily anymore. You don't rush to call someone close. You don't reveal your whole life story after a few meetings. You don't force things to happen quickly. People may mistake your caution for coldness, but that's not the truth. You still want friends. You just don't want to repeat old pain. You choose safety for your heart over rushed connections that break again. Another reason you may have few friends is emotional self-reliance, both a strength and a burden. Many people learn early that they can only depend on themselves, so they become their own support, their own comfort, their own rescue. You're used to handling it, so you rarely message someone, "I'm tired," or "I need you right now." But the truth is, many friendships only survive through vulnerability. When you're too used to carrying everything alone, others can't step into your world, not because they don't want to, but because you don't leave the door open. You may look fine, strong, steady, but inside there are still moments when you need someone to lean on. And sometimes, the habit of silently enduring makes the distance grow. Another trait that fits you perfectly is your sensitivity to truth. You can feel immediately when someone is pretending. A forced smile, a half-hearted reply, unfocused eyes, a slight shift in tone, you notice it all. You see small contradictions others ignore, and because you value sincerity, you can't stay long in connections that feel like performance. Many people accept a certain level of surface interaction just to fit in. But you don't want to dilute yourself to belong in places that don't respect who you really are. That doesn't make you picky. It means you're selective to protect your soul. And that selectiveness creates a natural distance from the majority. But when you do connect, it's usually real. Something few people admit: emotional maturity can shrink your circle. If you think before reacting, dislike drama, and feel no interest in gossip or hidden competition inside friendships, you naturally move at a different rhythm. You don't find joy in temporary thrills. You don't chase validation. You don't play psychological games just to keep a spot in a group. You need stability, peace, consistency, and clarity. But many relationships out there are fueled by noise, rumors, attention, and the need to win. When your values prioritize genuine connection over excitement, the distance grows. It's not your fault. You're simply living on your own frequency. Emotional maturity is also why your circle becomes smaller. When you choose to think before you react, stay away from drama, avoid gossip, and focus on growth, you're already operating at another level. You want conversations with value, ones that evolve, not repeat, and aren't built on manipulation. But that kind of maturity is rare. Many people feel alive in chaos, competition, and attention-seeking. You don't. You don't need to win invisible battles inside friendships. You need peace, clarity, and honesty. So while others chase temporary stimulation, you seek real connection. The gap grows, not because you're cold, but because your values run on a different frequency. Here's a deeply human trait many don't notice. You're good at hiding emotional exhaustion. On the outside, you stay calm, you smile, and you say, "I'm fine," or "I'm just busy." But inside, you may be drained. You've learned to endure quietly, not wanting to bother anyone or make anyone worry. Because of that, people assume you're strong and don't need anyone, and they stop checking in. You become the person everyone comes to for comfort, but rarely the person anyone asks, "Are you okay?" Over time, you feel lonely inside one-sided relationships. It's not that you have no one, it's that you're always expected to be the strong one. The truth is, you don't need to pretend you're invincible. You've just grown used to living as the quiet survivor. Another reason you don't blend easily into the crowd is that your mind is simply different. You may think in images, metaphors, patterns, or connections other people can't see. While others talk about the surface of a story, your mind automatically dives into what it means underneath. You don't just hear what someone says. You see the structure, the motive, and the emotional layer behind it. That's why conversations can feel out of sync. Someone says something simple, and your mind opens up a chain of deeper questions. That doesn't make you better or worse, just wired differently. And most people form friendships with what feels familiar, easy to read, easy to match. When your thinking is complex and subtle, you can feel hard to figure out to the majority, so your circle naturally stays smaller. Another emotional layer many people with few friends carry is deep gentleness, even if they rarely admit it. You don't love in a shallow way. When you trust fully. When you care, it's real. Your loyalty is quiet but powerful, and once you let someone into your world, they matter. But that level of realness can overwhelm people. Many are used to light, casual relationships, show up when it's fun, disappear when it's not. They keep things safe, not too deep, not too attached. You bring sincerity and seriousness, so you can tell immediately when someone wants to keep things light. When they pull back, you feel the difference. And you retreat too. Not because you're hard to love, but because your heart isn't built for superficiality. Another reason you may have few friends isn't about personality. It's about your life story. Maybe you moved often. Maybe you grew up in a way that forced independence. Maybe you were part of groups where you never truly felt accepted. Maybe you were the listener more than the talker, the observer more than the performer. And maybe there was a season when you were focused on surviving more than connecting. Those experiences taught you how to adapt, how to stay strong, how to stand on your own, but not always how to let people in. So you developed a very common psychological truth. You learned to feel safe in solitude early. It doesn't mean you hate people. It means you're used to feeling whole without needing many people close. And sometimes, that familiarity naturally keeps your circle small. Another trait people with few friends often have is strong intuition about others' intentions. You don't just hear words, you feel the energy behind them. A look, a slight shift in tone, a repeated pattern. Those are enough for you to sense whether someone is sincere or temporary. That intuition protects you, but it also makes you withdraw quickly when something feels off. You're not afraid of people. You're afraid of the wrong connections. You don't avoid friendship. You avoid unstable relationships where feelings don't match words. In a world full of inconsistency and performance, your intuition becomes both a shield and a wall. Because you step back when you sense uncertainty, your circle gets smaller, but it also becomes more honest than ever. Another common trait of people with few friends is strong values. When you prioritize kindness, respect, patience, humility, and honesty, you automatically place a filter on relationships. Not everyone is ready for that level of clarity and integrity. Many people want convenience, temporary fun, or relationships without responsibility. You don't. You want connections that bring your heart peace. So your social life may look quieter, but it's more true to who you are. People rarely say this, but it's real. Some lose friends because they grow up, because they heal, because they can no longer tolerate chaos. Some lose friends because they choose peace over attention. Sometimes that leaves you alone. But being alone doesn't mean being empty. It simply means you refuse to lower your standards just to be surrounded. A gentle but deep truth. Your capacity to love is bigger than people realize. You care deeply, but you show it quietly. You don't need many people. You need real people, the kind who can touch your soul, not just show up for entertainment. You connect slowly, but when you do, the bond is loyal and sincere, sometimes life-changing. You're also highly sensitive to effort and shifts in energy. You notice when someone reaches out, and you notice when they stop trying. When you feel like an option instead of a priority, you pull back. That makes your circle smaller, but it also makes it purer. You're not chasing attention, you're searching for true resonance. And that's why every relationship you keep carries weight, not just volume. A standout trait of people with few friends is clear emotional boundaries, even if unspoken. You don't tolerate disrespect. You don't accept half-hearted behavior. And you won't stay in relationships that make your soul feel smaller. In a world where many connections are built on convenience, strong boundaries reduce how many people stay, but they increase how real the remaining ones are. You don't want people who appear only when they're free and vanish when life gets busy. You need consistency and real presence. Some may call that demanding, but it's not. You simply know the limits of your soul. You understand that quality matters more than quantity, and even if boundaries make life quieter, they protect the relationships that truly honor you. Another reason you may have few friends is social exhaustion. Not because you dislike people, but because every interaction costs real energy. You listen closely, feel emotions deeply, try to be present, and sometimes you even absorb the other person's mood. After a gathering, you don't feel happier because there were many people. You feel the need for silence to recover. So your rhythm is unique. Connect, then retreat, then return when your energy is back. But many people misunderstand this rhythm. They may assume you're distant or uninterested. The truth is, you're taking care of yourself. Needing space doesn't make you less worthy of friendship. It means you're self-aware, you know your limits, and you protect your mental health. And finally, one of the most important traits. You're not afraid to be alone. You'd rather be genuinely lonely than surrounded by people you have to force yourself to fit in with. You choose peace over noise, inner clarity over outer approval. And that quiet strength changes everything. People who fear loneliness accept anyone just to fill the gap. You don't. Because you can handle silence. You can wait for the right people. You don't rush connections. You don't cling. You don't keep half-hearted relationships alive. You let time do the filtering. That's why your circle is small, but it has weight. Your path may be quiet, your footsteps may echo, and sometimes it may feel lonely. But that doesn't mean you lack value. It means you refuse to trade your peace for popularity. One thing few people understand: Those with few friends often have extremely sensitive emotional awareness. They don't talk much or interrupt, they simply observe. In a cafe or in a crowd, they don't belong to the noise, they belong to stillness. They aren't quiet because they're timid, but because they understand too much about what's happening around them. They notice tone, subtle shifts, eyes, moods. They can tell when someone isn't sincere, when someone is only present for show. Because they understand so much, they speak less and communicate more carefully. It's not a lack of confidence, it's heightened clarity. But that clarity can be exhausting because it requires feeling so much. They're not afraid of people. They're afraid of the wrong connections, the kind that would make them lose themselves just to be accepted.